Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to an unboxing for Marvel Legendary Black Widow. So it's been a long time since we've had another Black Widow character, because the only other one was in the base game. So it's been many years, so it's really cool that they're finally adding one. I think originally this was supposed to try and kind of come out, like release at the same time as her solo movie. But with the way everything works in the world, it didn't happen at exactly the same time. But we're gonna get a lot of the characters that kind of link to that, because of course we're gonna have Black Widow. But then some of the other characters we get will also tie in with the movie, as well as other recent, MCU stuff. Although now saying that though, this is a comic book set. It's not an MCU set. Yes, we definitely got some cool things. So let's head in and jump in and see what we got. So first off, we have 3 teams in here, which is really cool. Because first of all, we're going to get more S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. I always use more S.H.I.E.L.D. characters. It's there's a decent amount, but there's a lot of characters in Marvel Comics that have joined S.H.I.E.L.D. one time or another. So it's a cool way to reprint off characters, like Black Widow. Who haven't been on a ton of different teams. So we're going to get, of course, Natasha Romanoff, who's the Black Widow, as well as Yelena Belova, who is also the White Widow. So we'll get 2 different S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. That's definitely cool there. And then for the Avengers, we're going to get the Winter Soldier and the Falcon. So Bucky and Sam. So this kind of ties on, like I was saying, with other shows, because they had the Disney Plus show, Captain America and Winter Soldier. So we're basically getting a dual combination pack of those 2. Although this is representing more of like their comic book forms again versus the TV series, but it's definitely cool there. Then we are also getting a Marvel Knights character. Some extra Marvel Knights characters, definitely welcome. Because I don't believe there's been like a full Marvel Knights set actually ever, because even the Paint the Town Red with Spider-Man, which is what, the second expansion, or even Dark City, which introduced Marvel Knights, still had a lot of other ones. So they haven't had like a full Marvel Knights set in a long time. Maybe I was going to say, I thought maybe Noir was, but I think that still listed characters as Avengers and X-Men. Yeah, I don't know if they've had a full Marvel Knights set. There's definitely some more aspects to this. But we're going to get the White Tiger, Angela Del Toro. So we're going to get some extra cool stuff there. And then the last character we have kind of hidden in here is the Red Guardian, who doesn't have a team. So that also kind of works out nicely too. So we get, 4 different teams in a 5-character pack. Technically 6, because you have a double character set. It's definitely cool. Alright, so returning keywords, we have Undercover, which is originally in the S.H.I.E.L.D. set. Basically, cards will say send your heroes undercover, which means put them in your victory pile, and they're worth a victory point. This is a good way to get certain cards out of your deck, like you said, what's like your generic starting cards. And you also get extra victory points if you're playing for that route, you're trying to get points that way. I don't ever play for points. Basically, whenever I play with anybody, our goal is just to beat the mastermind. Then if we win, then we might, as players, be like, hey, who got the most points? And we'll just kind of, do it as a fun little thing, but we don't play competitively for that. If you play a card that sends itself undercover, you still get to use all its abilities before it goes into your victory pile. But yeah, it'll work well with the S.H.I.E.L.D. set as well, so that's definitely cool. And then we have a new version of that called Unleash from Undercover. So there'll be certain cards that'll say, they'll allow you to unleash a hero from undercover, return a hero from your victory pile to your hand. Now, here's the cool thing is, it's not specifically needing a card that says undercover. So if you, for some reason, had some other way of getting a hero card into your victory pile, you could also unleash that character as well. Yeah, because it just says return a hero from your victory pile. You have several cards in there. When you fight, you may unleash this card with undercover. Fighting one villain is enough to unleash any number of those characters. So cool. So if you're basically saying, like, if I'm playing Black Widow and I'm fighting, Bullseye, for example, which is one of the villains, and I play 3 cards that say unleash, I can unleash all 3 of them. It's not one per attack or per fight. And when you unleash it to your hand, you can play it on the same turn, which could trigger another unleashing, or it could do other stuff. And then you just keep it in your hand like normal. Basically as simple as that. Then we have another similar idea to this, is we have when recruited, send this card undercover. So there's various cards that say when recruited, do abilities. So when you purchase them from the HQ, you have to do this, and this will just allow you to send them under there. So it says Red Guardian has a bunch of these, so the idea is his mechanic is really playing off of that, but it lets him hide his cards and then you can use them right away rather than to wait for another card to trigger that. Alright, then we're going to have some more returning mechanics. We're going to have the Dodge mechanic. This is from the Villain set. So this is really fun. So it says, during your turn, you may discard this card from your hand to draw another card. So this is really good if you have, maybe you're trying to bolster attack, and you have a card that has Recruit on it, and it has Dodge. You could discard it to get rid of that Recruit card, hopefully draw another Dodge card. Or vice versa. Various things like that. The other way it might help is for our next ability, which is Dark Memories. So Dark Memories, which came from the Revelation set, which is perfect for this because it's supposed to represent characters that have basically done bad things in the past. So of course the Black Widows have, and Winter Soldier has. So it worked really well with these characters. I'm glad it came back in this set. It says you get +1 attack for each hero class among the cards in your discard pile. Likewise, villains can also have it, which they get 1 attack for each hero class in your discard pile. So the hero classes, of course, your 5 colors: strength, intellect, covert, tech, and range. So it can have anywhere from 0, meaning you have either no cards in your discard pile because you just shuffled your deck, or you have no colored cards, like early on you might not have purchased anything yet, because they might be in your hand, you might not have purchased enough, or you can have up to 5, but you're never going to have more than 5. And then that can definitely be adjusted as the game goes on, because you could play a Dodge card and put another card in there. You could recruit a card, that could add 1 in there. Divided cards, which you'll have 2 different sides, or multi-class cards, which have 2 different colors on them. Each count as both of them. So yeah, there are definitely some different ways to do that, which is really fun. Plus also another thing I just mentioned here is if you play them at certain times, maybe you draw your last card and you have to draw another one, so now you have to reshuffle your deck. So yeah, your discard pile is now empty. Now this hurts your ability to get Dark Memory bonuses, but it does impact the villain from not getting that bonus. So that's kind of a good idea there too. Then finally we have divided cards, which are the Falcon and Winter Soldier. So basically they're 2 mini cards. So in your hand, or in the deck, or on the table, or wherever, they count as both sides of the card. So they could be multi-classed, multi-named, multi-abilities, all that type of stuff. Could be recruit, could be attack. But when you play them, you pick one side, and then only that side counts. Pretty simple. And then here's the same related characters. So if you're looking for more Falcon, there's one in Civil War. There's Falcon as Captain America in the, as well as the Winter Soldier, are both in the Captain America 75th anniversary set. And then they didn't mention the Black Widow, who is in the base game, because you have to own the base game to play this, so assuming you already own that. Alright, so that's enough gibber-gabbering for all of the how to play these. Let's actually look at our new cards. We're going to start with, of course, the Black Widow. We have to start here. So this is our common. We have 5 copies of it. We have Evasive Acrobat. So an instant 2 recruit with dodge. When you dodge with this or play this card, you may also dodge with another card in your hand. Yeah, so 3 for 2 recruit, pretty standard. But the fact you can get rid of it again, hey, I need attack, you can get rid of that. And then the fact is you can also either dodge, or if you just play this, you could dodge another card. So it's kind of helpful. Helps you manage your hand a little bit better. She's got her other common, which she has 5 copies of, which is Widow's Bite, which is a tech card. Dodge and Dark Memories. Those expecting her defenseless find themselves shocked. So 1 for 4 is in itself pretty bad, but the fact that it has Dark Memories means it can very easily be up to 6, depending on how you buy cards. And 6 for 4 is really good. So each one of them cards is very modular. You can't just look at the base of it. Plus it also, again, has dodge. Then she has her uncommon, which she has 3 copies of. Weave a Web of Spies. So covert, which also has dodge. If you drew any other cards this turn, you may send one of your other heroes under cover. So 5 and 2. So this will really play into multiple aspects because all her cards so far have dodge, so it'll allow her to draw other cards by using those, and then be able to send heroes under cover. Pretty much anyone she wants, as long as she plays another card that has dodge. So all her cards work very well together. 2 for 5, again, not super great for like that cost, but the ability is what really draws it. And they also know she's had covert, instinct, tech, and then now she has range, so she has 1 of each color, so she's very versatile. She only doesn't have strength, which makes sense. She's not really a physically strong character. Infiltrate the conspiracy. You may send one of your heroes under cover. You get +3 attack if you have at least 4 bystanders and or undercover heroes in your victory pile. Yeah, so again, looking at base 7 for 4, not really that great, but 7 for 7 is pretty decent. Plus, you can also send, just by playing it, you get to put one of your cards under cover. So, realistically, by the time you play this, you only have had to put 3 other cards under there. And then it also works nicely because she has bystanders or undercover. It's not just relying on the undercover mechanic. So if like you were only playing her with herself with none of the other characters, either from this set or the shield you had undercover, you'd still be able to use this ability fairly regularly if you had other things. I want to say, off the top of my head, I don't remember 100%, but I believe her original base game version had a lot of stuff had some stuff for rescuing bystanders, so that kind of ties into that as well. Yeah, so there's Black Widow, some definitely interesting, cool, unique, new stuff. Really playing with the undercover mechanic, dodge mechanic, and being a shield agent. Alright, let's hop in and look at our next character. We have 5 copies of Yelena Belova. So she's also a shield agent as well. She's now classified, at least as of right now, she's the White Widow in the comic books. But I believe, even though she's definitely wearing the White Widow outfit, I don't know if she was classified that when the set was coming out. But I think it's also because they wanted to use her actual name. They could have used many different versions of her, because she's been the Black Widow as well. So strike and fade. Send this under cover. Good plans are like assassinations. It's all in the execution. 3 for 2 is definitely good. But you have to get rid of it. So that's like a little bit more powerful because once you play it, you lose it. So you have to find a way to get it back or utilize another mechanic. So her next common card is an instinct card. It says Unveil Identity. If you play another instinct, you may unleash one of your heroes from undercover. A carefully honed secret can be more deadly than a blade, so 3 for 2 is pretty par. And it works great with her other abilities. She can use 1 card to go undercover, this one you'll pull it back out as long as you played another instinct. The only thing just to note is she has a covert and an instinct, so by herself she's not going to pull that out very quickly. But if you're teaming her up with the Black Widow, if you have her in the site as well, you're going to have a lot more instinct cards to play through. So her next one is the 3 copies of Twilight Objects Tech. Dodge. When you dodge this card, you may unleash one of your other heroes from undercover. When you play this card, send it undercover. So 3 for 6 is not the best, but again, when you uncover another card, is basically letting you draw another card, but you just specifically choose which one. And since you're choosing generally what cards go undercover, you get to play one. And the fact is, a bunch of these cards have ability to let you send other cards undercover, so it's not just specifically the ones that say send these undercover. You can plan different combos, so that's kind of neat as well. So you can like set up a thing, like, hey, I'm gonna put this Hulk card undercover, and then later I'm gonna pull him out when I need him most, or when you can, because it's randomly drawing cards. But yeah, this is definitely good. So when you dodge this card, you may unleash. So that works well with the other 2 cards. Then her ultimate is another tech. So she doesn't get all 4 things. She doesn't get a range like Black Widow does. But she has Destroy the Red Room. You may unleash one of your heroes from undercover. And you may send a hero from your discard pile undercover. Sometimes your pass goes up in smart. So 4 for 8, I think that's not the best. But again, you are automatically getting 1 extra card to play. And so, again, if it was just draw an extra card, not that good, but since it's unleash, means, again, you kind of get to pick and choose what you put. You know what you put in there, you know what you have options. The only downside to those 2 effects for both this and the last card would be if you haven't, if you've played too many, if you're not playing enough cards that put something undercover, or you play too many in a row that pull stuff out, sometimes these cards might have basically fizzle out because they don't have anything to pull. So again, it's kind of a management thing there as well. But yeah, definitely interesting card. Black Widow didn't have as many undercover cards. She has a lot more, so kind of see how well they work with the other characters in the set. Also, again, if you mix with the Shield set, you'll have a lot more options. Alright, so up next, we have their father figure-ish. We have Red Guardian. So he's got 5 copies of Sleeper Agent. So again, he has no team. So he's going to have a covert, and it says, when recruited, send this undercover. When you fight a villain, you may unleash this card from undercover. So this is actually cool, because he unleashes himself. You just kind of got to remember that it's in there. So, like, instead of setting this in your victory pile, you might want to just maybe, like, I would almost set your undercover cards, like, next to your victory pile. Like, here's your bystanders, and here's a deck for your undercover, just so you don't have to keep digging through them as you play along, especially if you're going to keep pulling them back out. But yeah, so you can basically surprise us. Now, here's the only thing that's sort of weird, because when you fight him, he doesn't come out with extra attack, he comes out with extra recruit. But what could be helpful is if you played another covert card, he has draw a card. So if you've already used a covert card before this, then you can pull him out and you get an extra card. So basically you're getting 2 extra recruit from pulling him back out. And then you're going to be able to get an extra card used against that villain. To go with that, he has another covert card, so 5 copies of Magnetic Shield. When recruited, send this undercover. When you recruit another covert hero, you may unleash this card from undercover, so to get your 2 attack. And if you played another covert, you get +2 attack. Yeah, being able to kind of pull these out are kind of fun. It's also worth noting that both of these say you may unleash, so you are not forced to. So if you have a good combo, definitely pull them out and use them. But if it's not, you might want to wait. So both these guys would work a little bit better if you're. Both of his cards would work better if you've already played a covert. Then you unleash them, because then you can get the bonuses from their card as well. Otherwise, you might just want to hold back. Alright, then his uncommon here is 3 copies of Death Was Only a Ruse, which is a strength card. This is our first strength card in the entire set. It says, when recruited, send this undercover. When a master strike is completed, or any player fights the mastermind, unleash this card. If you play another covert, you may send one of your other heroes undercover. So again, another way to send any card undercover is kind of fun. Plus, this can be played. I like that it triggers with a Master Strike, because there's not a lot of cards that interact with those. So it's definitely a cool idea as well. Although 3 for 6 isn't the best, but again, you're getting... the first time you're just getting kind of a bonus. After that, it's alright. And then his final card is another covert. So there's a lot of covert that is going to work really well with this stuff. So Champion of the Winter Guard. When recruited, send this undercover. A Steam Quest is completed, or you play your 3rd covert hero in turn, you may unleash this card from undercover. So playing 3 covert might be a little bit tricky sometimes. But the Steam Quest is also a fun aspect. It's just, if you play another covert, you get +2 attack for each other covert hero you played this turn. So it's actually fun. So 4 for 8, not necessarily the best, but if you're playing a lot of covert, this could definitely be powerful. So to trigger it, it's at least bare minimum 1 other card. So at best, so to trigger that ability, you're at least getting 6 attack. But you could potentially get a lot more depending on how you play your turns. So that could definitely be great. And then both of the Black Widow and Yelena have covert cards as well, so they'll work well with that, getting some of his stuff. But so far right now, yeah, we have 1 range card, and we have 1 strength card total. So yeah, we're kind of lacking on that aspect. So let's see what our next character brings us. We're going to get the Marble Knights character, White Tiger. She has Dark Influence of the Hand. She has Dodge and Dark Memories. So Dark Memories, again, gets her 1 attack for each color in her pile. So yeah, that's one thing. Looking at this, there's not a lot of range. We have a couple in here at least, so that'll help out. Otherwise, we didn't have a lot of strength. So she has a few of those as well. So far at this set, it's going to be hard to get a full 5. You're probably going to consistently get 3, I think, for Dark Memories, and getting the total 4 or 5 might be a little trickier. Once this turn, you may fight the top card of the bystander stack as if it were a 3 attack hand ninjas henchmen. Then fight, get +1 star. Rescue this as bystanders. Ooh, that's kind of fun. So 3 with no regular attack, but could potentially be up to 5, and then you can automatically fight a bystander. So if you have 3 other cards in there, you could basically choose to play this card, have your 3 attack, and then fight a hand ninja. So not only are you getting a extra recruit every turn as well, you are also getting a bystander, which could work well with Black Widow's thing where she needs multiple bystanders if you're going to play her ultimate card. Then card also has dodge as well, so if for some reason you don't have a lot of attack, oh, I only have 1 card or 2 cards in there, it's not worth it, dodge it, get something else. That's definitely cool. Then her other common, which you have 5 copies of, is Amulets of the Tiger God. It's our other strength card. 2 for 4. Reveal the top 2 cards of your deck, draw 1 that costs 0, and discard the rest. So that's cool. You get to play around with what you get to do. Once you get your 0 cost cards, which are very interesting because you're pulling out your basic ones. and you're shoveling your other ones back into your discard pile. So I'm not really sure why you would want your 0 cost necessarily, but well, I guess one reason would be because your 0 costs are all going to be grays, and discarding the rest would put them in your discard pile for Dark Memories. So that kind of makes sense, I guess. It's a good way to get cards in there. It says, murdered by Lady Bullseye and ensorcelled by the Hang, Angela Del Toro has finally seized her own destiny. Alright, her uncommon, which is 3 copies, is Camouflaged Huntress, which is a covert. So you got another covert to work in there. Whenever you defeat a henchman this turn, you may KO one of your cards. With her FBI training and supernatural senses, she preys freely on the criminal element. Okay, so this could work well with her getting rid of them shield agents, them starting cards if you need to. Plus, she has her first card, which lets her turn bystanders into henchmen, so she can activate this a lot easier. So that's definitely an interesting combo. And then her final ultimate card is an instant Shadowed Resurrection. Dark Memories, drawing that many cards instead of gaining attack. Okay, so this could definitely be a very interesting. So, 3 for 8. If it was regular Dark Memories, that means she could potentially be up to 8 attack, which would be very cool. Because 3 for 8 is pretty lackluster. But instead, she's drawing that many cards, so now that's an interesting aspect, because you could potentially be drawing 5 more cards, which, worst case scenario, you draw 5 shield agents that recruit, and you gain, I guess, 5 recruit points. That's not even terrible in itself. Or you draw 5 basic shield attack shields, and you gain your 5 attack anyhow. So then you're back to the same as Dark Memories would be. Potentially, though, you could get a lot more stuff. You could draw a lot. Cards of special abilities, cards that do attack. Now, there is a rare case you could end up drawing 5 cards that have no attack or recruit, because there are cards that don't have any of them, or don't meet the conditions, like, you know. But if you drew all of those, they probably all have special abilities. So, you know, that's actually pretty cool. So it's a very interesting card. It could be very powerful, it could be very weak. Because if you only have 1 card in your discard pile at the time, and if you have none and you don't get anything, you might not get any if you have no Dark Memories. If you have 2 cards, you get 2, but the 2 you draw might not really be helpful. Like, oh, I really needed 3 attack, and I drew 2 recruit, and it didn't help you. So it's not. It's a cool card. It has some really good possibilities, but it's not a guaranteed anything. Alright, then for our final set of heroes, we have our divided cards. So we have the Falcon and Winter Soldier. So they're both Avengers. Which is cool because, so this is like a more updated version of the Falcon. We had again the books of the original Falcon in Civil War. And then they had the Cap Falcon. So this isn't the Capped Falcon, which is cool. And then the Winter Soldier in the Captain America set didn't belong to a team. So this is your first Winter Soldier we get that belongs to a team. I'm trying to figure out why this won't do. There we go. So we have a Tune and a Tone. So these are both going to cost 3. Ranged and Strength, which we needed a little bit more of. So Falcon's Attune side says, to play this, you must discard a card. And then Winter Soldier's Attune has Dark Memory, which has 0. So again, could be anywhere from 0 to 5. And that kind of works with the other side very well. So if you have to play this to discard for your 3 recruit, it's could potentially be feeding into other Dark Memory cards. So if you had 2 copies of this, you could play one Attune to discard another card to then get your Dark Memories boosted up a bit more. Yeah, so they kind of feed into each other. We have 5 copies of Relocate and Reload, Instinct and Tech. So Relocate has dodge, and if you play another instinct, you get +1 attack. There's plenty of instant cards in this set. And Reload says if you play another tech, draw a card. Yeah, so these two sides don't really work together. But yeah, now so far we have 4 of the 5 colors. Instinct, tech, strength, and range. Yeah, definitely cool. Draw a card is always a nice thing to be able to do. Again, kind of like we're just saying with White Tiger, could be very good, could be very bad. You don't know until you try it. Our uncommon, which we have 3 copies of, is New Wings and New Plan. So Tech and Covert. So these guys cover all 5 colors. With a little extra tech in there. New Wings. If you discard any cards this turn, you get +4 attack. So this works well with his Attune ability, which makes him discard. Also works with his second card, which had Dodge, which makes you discard if you're going to dodge. So both of his cards play into boosting up his side. And Winter Soldiers is just draw 2 cards. So it doesn't even give you any bonus, but gaining 2 extra cards could be very helpful. It seemed like his idea is playing more with the Dark Memories, getting stuff into your discard pile. Falking will help kind of do that. But then Winter Soldier also lets him draw, will help you reshuffle your deck quicker or get cards back out faster. Alright, then the final one we have is their combined ultimate, which is Captain America's Legacy. So Bulky and Winter Soldier, which is another strength card. You have +1 attack for each hero class you have. And if you played the Avengers card, you get Dark Memory. So this is actually a really interesting effect, because it's kind of like the Falcons is the top one and Winter Soldiers is the bottom effect. So 2 for 7 is very terrible, but you get +1 for each class you have. So assuming you're counting the class you already have, you at least have +1 with strength, so that's 3. But you could potentially have up to 5, which should give you 7 for 7, which is not bad at all. Then on the other side, if you played another Avengers card, you would have potentially up to 5 with Dark Memory. So you could potentially have 12 for 7, which could be very powerful. And then with these dual cards, you could actually get the classes in Dark Memories a lot quicker because you'd have both colors going on. Or if you played other multi-class heroes from a different set, like the previous set was Black Panther, which had Black Panther himself has a bunch of dual cards. So that might work into there as well. Yeah, so this is definitely, again, one of those cards which could be very powerful, potentially up to 12 attack, which can take out a lot of masterminds even, with 1 hit. Or it could be very bad, because at worst it's 3 if you have no other cards to play for some reason, or you only have strength cards, and if you had nothing in your discard pile, or you couldn't play another Avenger card ahead of time. Yeah, so very, very interesting effect. So lots of different characters, different ideas and mechanics. Alright, then let's look at our villains. So we're going to start with the Indestructible Man, who I'd never heard of before this. So he says, you can't use attack to fight Indestructible Man. Once during each of your turns, you may shuffle 2 elite assassins from your victory pile into the villain deck. If you do, fight Indestructible Man. So interesting. So he always leads the elite assassins in his Master Strike. Shuffle an elite assassin from your victory pile into the villain deck. If you can't, each player gains a wound. So he doesn't have any attack, but just to be able to fight him, you just have to shuffle him and then you beat him automatically. So you don't have to worry about... Oh, because it's in a... That's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting that it doesn't specify what his attack is. You may shuffle. You can't use spike. You can't use attack to fight indestructible. During each of your turns, you may shuffle 2 elite assassins from your victory pile into the villain deck. If you do, fight him. So then you must just automatically beat him, I'm guessing. Although, okay, here's the thing. It's because he has different effects on his cards. So yeah, we'll take a look at his cards and see what happens. You shuffle 2 elite assassins. So that's interesting. Alright, let's flip over to his other side. Let's look at his epic side. You must shuffle 3 elite assassins from your victory pile into the villain deck. Each player, for Master Strike, each player shuffles an elite assassin from their victory pile into the, if they can't get a wound. Basically, you have to fight 3. Alright, so let's look at his tactic cards. We have Manipulate, Murderous, Mad Monk. Fight. If this is not the last tactic, rescue 4 bystanders. This tactic enters the city as Moloch Boga villain whose abilities are Ambush. Play 2 cards from the villain deck. Fight, KO one of your heroes, and escape. Shuffle this back into Indestructible Man's tactics. So here he has 8 to beat him. So you have to defeat 2 elite assassins. And then to fight him, you have to put them back into the villain deck just to be able to beat him once. So you have to keep recycling those. Then this one just has the 8 printed because he actually comes into play. So then we have Unveil Project 4. Each other player reveals their hand and discards each copy with a 4 printed on anywhere. The copyright line does not count. That's funny. This is not the last tactic. Play 2 cards from the villain deck. So that's interesting. So copy with a cost of 4. So Winter Soldier has 1 set of cards. White Tiger has 1. Red Guardian has 1. And Black Widow has 1. Yelena does not, however, have a card that costs 4. Interesting. So each one has 1. This also really sucked to play against the Fantastic Four since they have a lot of 4 cards. Up next, we have International Arms Dealer. Gain a tech hero from the HQ. Each other player reveals a tech hero or gains a wound. This is not the last tactic. Draw 2 cards from the villain deck. Yeah, this guy's really pumping out villains. That's definitely mean. And then Secrets of Indestructibility. Take up to 2 wounds from your hand and or discard pile. If this is not the last tactic, play 2 cards from the villain deck. This guy you really have to be careful when fighting because he's going to keep pushing out all them extra villains. Plus his Master Strike says shuffle an elite assassin for your victory pile into the villain deck if you can't gain a wound. So to beat him, you have to find them 2 elites, which it sounds like every time you do beat him, he's going to keep pushing more and more guys out. But if those villains escape, then you can't obviously take them out. So if too many of those guys escape, you're not going to be able to even beat this guy. Regardless of whether or not, there's only 8 cards. If all 8 of the elite assassins happen to escape, you know, plus if he's shuffling them, even if you beat them, but you only have 1 and a Master Strike hits, it's going to make it harder. And since you need 2, you're also going to have to kind of play around with, if you're playing a 4-player game, you can't have each player always taking out an assassin. Sometimes it's like, hey, take out whoever you can to keep the city clean. But with this character, you might have to be like, no, like, you're going to have to focus on taking out these guys, like maybe 1 or 2 players so you don't have the elite assassin spread too thin. So that's kind of interesting. Alright, that was Indestructible Man. Let's look at his elite assassins. So we have the Black Lotus, who has a 6 health or attack. Ambush. Each player discards a card that costs 0. And fight, you get +3 recruit. That's kind of cool. So it's like almost like a better version of the hand ninjas. I mean, she obviously costs a lot more, but you get 3 recruit instead of 1. And the ambush isn't so terrible. Early on, it would definitely suck, like first, second turn, but later in the game, it might not be so bad. We have 2 copies of Iron Maiden, who has Dark Memories, so she gets +1 attack for each class in there, so she could be up to a +9 easily. Ambush, each player must send one of their non-gray heroes under cover, and fight, each player may unleash one of their heroes from under cover. So it's kind of a good and bad thing. Sucks to lose one of your cards, but at least you know if you can then beat her. You can definitely, everyone gets to 1 card back, so then later in your turn it'll become better. We have Blue Talon, who has Dark Memories as well. Ambush, each player reveals a ranged hero or gains a wound. You may also send a hero from your discard pile under cover. So now this one's actually a little bit worse in the set because there's not a lot of range. Black Widow had her ultimate card, and then I think there was commons for both White Tiger and the Falcon Winter Soldier. But yeah, not a lot of range. And then our last one, 2 copies of Snapdragon. Ambush, each player discards a non-gray hero, then each player draws a card. Fight, you may send one of your heroes under cover. So all these guys have ambush abilities, which makes sense. They're ninjas. Or, well, they're assassins. Alright, let's look at our next mastermind. We have Taskmaster. Definitely cool to finally get him. Henchmen get +1 attack for each henchman training stacked here. During your turn, Taskmaster gets +1 attack equal to the highest number cost hero you played this turn. Oh boy. So, yeah, if you play a bunch of smaller cards, it's not going to be very powerful, but if you play like that, Falcon Winter Soldier one, you get +12. Also, now he also has +12. Basically, he's negating your highest level card. Is essentially what it is. You have to play 5 plus whatever your highest card is. He leads Taskmaster's Thunderbolts and Master Strike stack. This strike next to Taskmaster as henchman training. If there are any henchmen in the city, each player gains a wound. Cool. So it'll make all the henchmen stronger, as well as, and there's 5 Master Strikes, so he can have easily have all 5 of them out and have, +5 for his guys. That could really be painful. Let's see what his epic side is. So henchmen are gonna get +2, and that's the only thing that looks like it should. Oh, during your turn, Taskmaster gets attack equal to double the highest cost card. So now you have to out double your cards twice. So basically, you're gonna again benefit by maybe using lower cards. Versus that one big giant attack. Alright, his tactics are the Shield Initiative Trainer. Choose a henchman from any player's victory pile to enter the city. KO any number of your Shield agents and your troopers, gain that many Shield officers. Okay, that's kind of actually cool. Yes, a henchman has to come in, but you can also pick I defeated a hand ninja, which gets me, this ability, or I defeated a sentinel, which lets me KO something. You could pick a henchman that has an ability that really benefits you, or is cheap plus. Almost all henchmen are 3 costs, so they're not terribly hard to defeat. But then you also KO a bunch of shield officers and agents and getting officers, which is definitely cool. More so if you're combining this with the shield set, because then you'd have the specialized shield agents like Dum Dum Duggin and Quake and all those characters. So you can actually get shield officers that have special abilities. So that could definitely be even cooler. We have photographic reflexes, of course, Taskmaster's main thing. Choose a henchman from any player's victory pile to enter the city. Play a copy of a hero in the HQ that costs 6 or less. So it's kind of an neat effect. You just henchmen that come back out. And then you get to play a hero that costs 6 or less. So cool. Teacher and Assassin. Choose a henchman for any player's victory pile to enter the city. Each other player reveals their hand and puts one of their non-gray heroes at the bottom of their hero deck. So that's the only one that's so far been it's been pretty bad. You have to put one of your good characters at the bottom of your deck. But, again, depending on how big your deck is, might not be a bad thing. You only have 4 cards in there, 5 cards. Put this guy into the next turn, you're drawing them. And our final one is Henchman Instructor. Choose a henchman for any player's victory pile enter the city. Then each other player discards a card for each henchman in the city and or escape pile. Yes, again, that's kind of bad. But that's kind of how the villains work, right? Sometimes you have effects that really help you. Sometimes you have effects that hurt you. And then the whole henchman entering the city, again, like I said, it could be very beneficial because you could pick someone that has an ability you like to reuse. But the other thing to keep in mind, though, is that I really need to defeat Taskmaster, but if I put a henchman in there, that might end up triggering other effects or pushing guys or whatever. So you have to decide, can you afford to put one in there? Maybe you have enough points to put one in there and then defeat it yet that turn, which is definitely great. But maybe not. Alright, let's look at our Thunderbolts. We're going to get 2 copies of Bullseye. I think this is the 3rd Bullseye villain there's been, because he had Thunderbolts during the Civil War, and I think he had, I want to say he had something in Kingpin set as well. Plus, he's also been a playable character, so Bullseye's roundabout way becoming one of the most common characters. Ambush. Choose a recruit or attack, and then reveal the top card of the hero deck. If it has an icon, he captures it and gains attack equal to that hero's cost. Interesting. And then fight. Player choice gets captured hero and KO that hero. So that's kind of cool. So it could either be 4 or it could be very powerful. Interesting. We have Jack-o'-lantern. Choose a henchman from any player's victory pile to enter the city. Escape. Each player with fewer than 2 henchmen in their victory pile gain a wound. Ooh, combined with Taskmaster, that might happen very easily. If you let them escape, so just don't let people escape. Next up, we have 2 copies of Joystick. Ambush. Choose a henchman from any player's victory pile to enter the city. Get in your way and you'll be the one getting played. It's a very, very simple one. And then our final one is Jester. Ambush. Jester captures a bystander. Reveal the top 4 cards of the villain deck. Play all henchmen you find. Put the rest back in any order. So combined with Taskmaster, these guys are all going to be about just getting henchmen back out over and over and over. So if you have, again, maybe one of the easier ones or ones with helpful abilities like the Hand Ninja or potentially even like the Sentinels, let you KO something, that's not so bad. If you're playing someone that has more of an abusive ability that maybe forces you to discard or KO something every time you beat them, I want to say they're the Annihilus Seekers. I might be wrong on the name of them. But they gain bonuses for every other one that's in there. I think they start with like +1, or they start at 2 instead of 3 health. But they gain extra attack for everyone. With these guys constantly pumping more and more out, they could very be interesting. So it's definitely cool. Would have been also neat for this set with all this talk of henchmen. That would have been cool. This would have been a cool set. I almost could have made a bigger box set, not the full one. They have the little bit bigger size, kind of like Dark Revelations, where they have, instead of 5 heroes, they have 8 heroes. But would have also been neat to do something like that, just to add another henchman set, like Elite Hand Ninjas. Like, there's another set of hand ninjas, or like maybe even another henchman group that would have been like Taskmaster's thugs. That would have been kind of cool, just to get another group in there. Alright, their last 4 cards are going to be our Steams, so we'll go over these kind of quick. Trained Black Widow in the Red Room. So 8 twists, minus 1 twist per player. Add 8 shield officers to the villain deck. Special rule officers in the villain deck in City are Black Widow Initiate villains with 3 attack and with Dark Memory. Fight game 1 as an officer without Dark Memory or send it undercover. Interesting. So again, this could be kind of neat if you had the shield officers from the shield set, which have special abilities, versus just getting the recruit one. The Dark Memories could make these guys hard to beat, though. Twist. A Black Widow initiative enters the city from the officer stack. Play another card on the villain deck, and then evil wins, and there are 3 villains per player in the escape or the villain deck runs out. Cool. So fairly straightforward. We have Sniper Rifle Assassins, 11 twists, minus 1 twist per player. Twist, each player must dodge with a hero from their hand, revealing a card they drew. KO each non-gray hero drawn this way. Oh boy, so that kind of sucks. Because you have to dodge, so you're losing a card from your hand, and you might potentially have to KO that new card as well. Evil wins when there are 4 non-gray heroes per player in the KO pile. Interesting. So again, pretty easy ones. Corrupt the Spy Agency, 7 twists. Twist 1 through 6. Each player sends one of their non-gray heroes undercover. Then each player may unleash a hero undercover with a lower cost than the one they just sent undercover at 7 evil wins. Okay, so that's kind of neat because it's not even necessarily a penalty. Although, because it says may unleash a hero with a lower cost than the one they just played, so you kind of maybe want to, again, maybe keep these guys' base up so you can see their costs. So you can be like, okay, so I have a 2 and a 3 in my pile. I want to make sure I play at least a 3 or 4 so I can use them. Because, yeah, if I'm going to put a 5 in there, and then you only have 2s to 3s later, then you can't play it. So that could be kind of interesting. And then our final one is Frame Heroes for Murder. 7 twists, 6 heroes. So cool, so you have to at least add 1 more from one of the other sets. Now, if you're just combining the base set, who's probably one of the best guys to combine with this? Nick Fury, because he's going to use shield. Shield cards. But definitely to do a bunch of other characters as well. Stack a card from the HQ next to the Steam as incriminating evidence that has a different cost than any other already in that stack. Twist 7, add any card from the HQ from the incriminating evidence. And then evil wins when there are 5 pieces of incriminating evidence. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. So, this is one of the ones where it could potentially beat itself. Because a stack a card from the HQ next to the Steam that has a different cost than any other card already in the stack. So, if you're looking at it, there's a bunch of 2s and 3s in there, you could, if if a twist comes up and you already have 2 or 3 in the pile, then they don't get to add one, so that twist gets wasted. And then any card from the 7 though is going to add that last card, so they only have to get 4 cards out there before Steam 7, and then it's going to add 1 regardless. So once you're at 4, you're basically lost if you can't get that last one out there. And then there's 6 cards, so it can easily waste 2 of them to get them 4. But if it ends up losing 3 of them, then you've already won the game. So it's easy as that. You haven't won the game, but you can't be defeated by that. So that's definitely some interesting new twists. Alright, so we had Legendary Black Widow. Bunch of cool new characters, some interesting new mechanics, some flavors. I also think, I do agree though, I think it could have been maybe one of the little bit bigger box sets. They almost then even could have maybe themed it and not called it just Black Widow. They could have maybe called it like spies and assassins, something like that. And then you could have had them other 3 characters you could have added. Could have been some other characters. Or they could have even done, which would have been neat, would have been like, you have, if they didn't want to make full characters of them, they could have had another 3-card set, kind of like the Warriors 3, or like the, well, I can't think of their name. They're from the Doctor Strange set. Yeah, he has the characters, but they have multiple characters in one set. They could have done that at the Winter Guard. So you could have Red Soldier and then the Winter Guard. The other ones could have been like, Dark Star and Ursa Major, Saber Cat, some of those guys. That could have been kind of cool. Potentially, you could have had a version of Crimson Dynamo in here. Just some of the other characters they could have had it more themed that way would have been kind of neat as well. But it's what it is. Definitely cool. Look forward to some more sets and see how this plays with some of the other characters. Alright, see you guys in the next video. Bye.